Good Thursday, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Conversation Daily News. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. Well, we made it over the hump, and we're in the home stretch toward the weekend. Of course, you have your news headlines coming up on this Thursday. We have a message from my book, Words I Choose to Live By, and in today's Entertainment Spotlight, even before my conversation with Karla Edwards, the Director of Mississippi Programs, discussing how reading and math core is helping through tutors to get our students back to where they need to be. Enjoy today's program. For Conversation Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with your Thursday headlines. In national news, Uvalde schools look to fire Chief Arredondo after shooting. Facing massive public pressure, Uvalde's top school official has recommended the firing of the school district police chief, who was central to the botched law enforcement response to the elementary school shooting nearly 2 months ago that killed 2 teachers and 19 students. The South Texas City School Board announced on Wednesday that it will consider firing Chief Pete Arredondo at a special meeting on Saturday. Arredondo has been accused by state officials of making several critical mistakes during the May 24th mass shooting at Robb Elementary School. School officials have previously resisted calls to fire Arredondo. The announcement comes 2 days after a meeting where the school board members were lambasted for more than 3 hours by members of the public who accused him of not implementing basic security at Robb, of not being transparent about what happened, and of failing to hold Arredondo to account for his actions. Confronted with parents' ferocious demands to fire Arredondo and warnings that his job would be next, the superintendent said Monday that the police chief was a contract employee who could not be fired at will. The agenda for Saturday's meeting includes the board discussing the potential firing with its lawyer. Arredondo, who has been on leave from the district since June 22nd, has faced blistering criticism since the massacre, most notably for not ordering officers to immediately breach the classroom where an 18-year-old gunman carried out the attack. If fired, Arredondo would become the first officer ousted from his job following the deadliest Texas school shooting in history. Although nearly 400 officers from various agencies were involved in the police response that took more than an hour to confront and kill the shooter, Arredondo is one of only 2 known to have faced discipline. His attorney did not immediately respond to requests for comment from the Associated Press. The move to potentially fire the chief follows the release of an 80-page report by Texas House Committee that blamed all levels of law enforcement for a slow and chaotic response. The report found that 376 law enforcement officers massed at the school, with more than half coming from state and federal agencies, but that they failed to adhere to their active shooter training and they failed to prioritize saving innocent lives over their own safety. According to the committee, Arredondo told lawmakers he didn't consider himself the on-scene commander in charge and that his priority was to protect children in other classrooms. The committee report called that decision a terrible, tragic mistake. In more national news, funeral held for Ivana Trump, former president in attendance. Former President Donald Trump paid respects to his first wife, Ivana Trump, joining their 3 children Wednesday at a funeral mass for the 1980s-style icon and businesswoman who helped him build an empire that launched him to the presidency. A very sad day, but at the same time, a celebration of a wonderful and beautiful life, the ex-president wrote on his social media platform Truth Social before heading to the mass with his current wife, former First Lady Melania Trump. Donald and Ivana Trump's 3 children, Donald Jr., Ivanka, and Eric, and their families follow Ivana's gold-colored coffin into the church on Manhattan's Upper East Side. In more national news, Sesame Place apologizes after girls snubbed at parade. A Sesame Street-themed amusement park has apologized and promised more training for its employees after a video showing a costumed character waving off 2 6-year-old black girls during a parade went viral online. The 9-second video, posted to Instagram on Saturday by Jody Brown, the mother of one of the girls, showed the character Rosita high-fiving a white child and woman, then gesturing no and walking away from the 2 girls who had their arms stretched out for a hug and high-five during the parade at Sesame Place and Langhorne outside Philadelphia. "I will never step foot in Sesame Place ever again," Brown said online. The family's lawyer told the Associated Press on Tuesday that the family is appalled and disturbed by the incident and the injuries propagated to their children. In an initial statement Sunday, Sesame Place said the park and its employees stand for inclusivity and equality in all forms. The statement also noted that performers sometimes miss requests for hugs because the costumes they wear make it difficult to see at lower levels. The Rosita performer did not intentionally ignore the girls and is devastated by the misunderstanding, the statement said. However, many people expressed outrage online and called for a boycott of the amusement park. Because of this, the park issued a second statement Monday, apologizing again and promising that it was taking action to do better. And finally, in business news, Wall Street closed higher, adding to gains after big rally. Wall Street tacked more onto its big gains from a day earlier Wednesday as more profit reports rolled in from U.S. companies. The S&P 500 rose 0.6%, a day after soaring 2.8% for its best day in weeks. Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. It's now time for a message from my book, Words I Choose to Live By. Enjoy. Good Thursday, everyone. I'm Cyrus Webb, and welcome to Words I Choose to Live By. Making a difference isn't confined to any particular day. It's for any day that you have breath in your body. Recognize the importance of bringing your personal best to everything you do, and no one will be able to doubt the riches you have to share. Have an amazing Thursday. We have part of my conversation coming up with Karla Edwards, the Director of Mississippi Programs in today's Entertainment Spotlight. Stay with us. You're listening to Conversations Daily News. For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with the Entertainment Spotlight. Karla Edwards, the Director of Mississippi Programs, talked to me on Conversations Live, the radio show, about how the pandemic has impacted our students when it comes to math and reading, and how tutors are needed to help them when it comes to the Mississippi Reading and Math course. Here's a bit of our conversation.
So I want to ask you, first of all, about how the pandemic has impacted the learning project. What is it that you guys have seen when it comes to the impact on the students when it comes to the pandemic and learning?
Well, unfortunately, the pandemic has affected us all, especially our young ones. Many were not able to fully function on the computer when we went to virtual. So that was a challenge, and just a challenge of not having that face-to-face of their teachers where they get that instructional learning. So that 2 years being out really affected them in their learning levels, especially those who entered the second grade last year, because they were out when they began in kindergarten.
Wow, that's a good point. You know what? And I think a lot of times we don't think about that, Ms. Edwards, that, I mean, for some of them, I mean, they did not have the normal, beginning of school like so many of us, may have taken for granted. So we know, of course, the role of teachers when it comes to helping kids learning. Talk to us about tutors. I mean, how have you seen the tutors being able to play an integral role when it comes to making sure that the kids are able to get back on track?
Tutors are there to bridge that gap. Our teachers, unfortunately, aren't always able to give that one-on-one attention that some of our students need. And those tutors are there to help them build their skills so they be able to be successful in the classroom. So with our Reading Corps program, they tutor our students one-on-one. And with Math Corps, they tutor students in groups of 2 to 3 for those who are on the same level.
Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. We thank you all for tuning into this edition of Conversations Daily News, but we'll have to get on tomorrow to wrap up this week. Until then, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Daily News today, and let's go make it a great one.